Okay, finally. Hello.
Welcome
Good
back.
morning. Um, it gave us an error and said that live streaming was not available, so I had to jump through a few hoops to get us there. So I don't know what that was about, but we have coffee and we have Panda. So we are here. We've had the last couple of weeks off, so we're happy to be back. Um, we had a trip to New Albany, Indiana 1 week, and then we had a house guest for last week. So we are happy to be back on track this week, and we are talking about self study and improvement. So we've been doing a lot of stuff between me with art and increasing honing my skills, deep diving into more stuff, and Val has been doing stuff with exercise and wellness, and so which has gotten me to do more with uh, my physical therapy and doing exercise and that kind of thing. So it's we're playing off each other in that regard, changing eating habits and what we bring in the house and that kind of thing. But um, what we'll get into, I'll let Val get into that here in a minute. But we have picked up a couple of new books. I will mention that. Um, I got my copy of Cairn, which we've talked about before, and then I got us two copies of it's a zine. I have a collection. We have two copies. Um, that way, if I want to, I can annotate. But we got the bestiary for both of us, which these are like $5 online, and there's no illustrations inside, but it's a list of stats and descriptions for a ton of different animals and creatures and that kind of thing.
Specifically for the Karen rules.
Yeah, and it's came out last year in this time last year, so it's a year old. Um, but so I picked these up for the two of us, and then we did a while our guest was here. Um, we went by half price, and I picked up this for $6. It's 84 Charing Cross Road by Helen Hanf, and it's the beloved classic, a 20-year correspondence between an American writer and a British bookseller. And the American writer is actually her, so um, it's really cool. It's all I'm halfway through it. It's all correspondence. It's all letters back and forth. Which, if you've read or seen Panda King 4, my novelette in the Stalemate series, Stalemate World, um, that was a lot of correspondence between Gustav and Amelia. So I've always had kind of an interest in this kind of thing. And Nick Bantock's Griffin and Sabine series, um, more appropriately, was a correspondence set in two trilogies and one kind of finalization book. Also, S by J.J. Abrams, which that correspondence actually takes place in the margins of a fictional hardcover book. Um, Long story. I could do a podcast just on that book alone. Um, but so self study. I have been doing um, hunting my skills on botanicals with a vintage flower book that goes into all the different parts of plants and that kind of thing. I tend to create my own plants, fictional plants, um, but especially for my Odonasha project that's coming up. And I also normally will take classes, and I'll post the referral link on the affiliate link down below after stream. But Domestica has kind of taken over the first spot with me, Skillshare is pretty good. There's some stuff on Skillshare, but Domestika, even though most of it is not in English, it's got subtitles and they're getting better about that. Um, but I think they have AI involved in doing the transcriptions, but it still sounds like a real person doing it because there's still kind of flaws and that kind of thing. But Domestika has everything from office software to Unity, Real Engine, all the Adobe stuff, crafting in general, bookbinding, tons of illustration classes. And I like seeing the different styles, people using watercolor and gouache and cut paper. There's a class on making paper props for movies, which I love. Um, there was one on magazine publishing. There's been a lot of really good classes that you can post projects to and kind of create a portfolio. Um, but it's at your own pace, which I like because I don't always get to sit down and just watch a whole class. I have started doing that once a week. Is I'll go in and I'll watch from start to finish. I'll watch a class. Most of the episodes or sections, classes within that whole class are broken into like half-hour increments. So I can take a break in between. A lot of times I'll take notes or I'll do stuff along with people. But it's always good to build your skills, improve your skills. Even if it's something that you can teach and you know inside and out, take the class because you can get somebody else's viewpoint, somebody else's perspective, and that's usually pretty helpful for me. Um, Skillshare had a couple in the past that I've really enjoyed as far as doing filmmaking, videography, stop motion. There's a lot of that on Domestika though, so that kind of fills the gap. So I'm more prone to subscribe to just Domestika than have a bunch of different streaming things. Um, and yeah, so my self study is usually tied into a specific project I'm working on, or a skill as a whole. But there's a few places out there, and there's a lot of even free webinars that you can take that they're all going to pitch, the paid course, which is usually like 7, 8, 900 and up. But for that free 5-day challenge or free weekly thing or free 2-hour session, it's worth it to get that information. I've done webinars on screenwriting. I've done them on business. I've done them on, just about every topic. And I always glean a little bit more about what I'm wanting to learn about from those. Some of them will have worksheets. Some of them will have like an entire guidebook. I've gotten like a 50-page manual on how to do marketing stuff, and so they'll give you value. They'll give you something so that you're invested in it, and then they'll try to push the course, but you still have that free webinar. You don't have to worry about the course unless you want to. The screenwriting ones have been really helpful because they'll do breakdowns with worksheets and all that, but I'll have those are from Screenwriting U, and I'll have which I don't like that they're starting to integrate AI in there. I have a problem with that, but I'll put the links to those below. But Val has been making some changes and doing some things and improving.
Most of it is just on a basic level. Most of it is just basic habit changes. A lot of it, but in fact, most of it, I would say, is that changing the pattern of what I do in the morning, right when I wake up, changing the amount of exercise I get in a day, and changing what time I don't eat after at night. If I had to sum everything up, that's pretty much
The
it.
schedule.
I have my PT exercises, which is mostly upper body. It's just, my resistance bands, which are 5 different exercises, and a door lean that stretches your shoulders.
Which, by the way, when he injured himself, I'm going to interject this. When he injured himself at the restaurant years ago, probably it was a year. He was there a year and 2 months when we got here in 2016, so 2017. And he spent till almost 2018 going to a chiropractor that screwed him up. And it was a good chiropractor. He was just not what he needed. So we spent years dealing with a chiropractor, and he went to physical therapy, and he was fixed in like 2 weeks.
2 days.
Yeah.
2 sessions, 2 weeks.
So so the PT exercises have been his go-to, but anyway, he's doesn't have those injuries anymore because of physical therapy. So
I do I change what I did in the morning, or what I do in the morning. I try to delay how late in the morning I drink coffee, rather than waking up and starting the coffee maker, which I do anyway because I make you coffee. But I'll drink my coffee about an hour and a half after I get up. Like by 10:30.
And that has to do with cortisol levels.
Cortisol levels, according to everything that I've looked at, your body already uses cortisol to wake you up in the morning, but it spikes beyond that if you're just going to go and drink coffee first thing in the morning. That's just according to everything that I've looked at. So, not to mention that sends an emergency state signal to your body, rather than telling your body in the morning, we are calm, we are safe, if everything is okay. People who breathe first thing in the morning, people who kind of go outside immediately when they wake up in the morning and hydrate, supposedly that allows the body to burn fat rather than burning whatever sugar is in your system, or glucose or glycogen is in your system.
And this is just from our research. We are not doctors.
No.
So
no.
Put that little discllaimer in there.
No.
So we don't get
like
in
I
trouble.
said, most of this is just I've changed some of my habits. I try not to eat anymore after like 5 p.m. period.
Which we were pretty good about not eating like we'd eat dinner at 6 and be done with everything at 7. But then I have the problem with my body going into ketosis or other health issue stuff that I have, that I'm like snacking at night, and it's just, so I'm trying to get away from doing that. We're going to bed earlier, so that helps, because
I've been going to bed by like 11:15, 11:30.
Yeah,
and that's like
sometimes we'll like around 10, 11 o'clock. Actually, about 11 o'clock, 11:30 is when I'm like, okay, I want a snack. I want something, because my body is just like, feed me now. And so going to bed earlier avoids that, because I'm already asleep.
I'll eat something in the morning, something small, something that's
Mostly protein.
Largely protein. Nuts, avocado, cheese. Putting that in a little bowl, eating that. I've been increasing the amount that I walk. I walk almost 3 miles a day. Just around here, we've got some good hills out here in our apartment complex. So I make like 3 or 4 laps.
And just got him new shoes.
And walk between 3 and 4 miles a day.
So he's increasing that.
So I'm walking like 30 to 45 minutes at a time. And then I do the PT workout. And then there will even be times where sometime in the afternoon, I'll do like 2 or 3 sets of sit-ups, like 10 or 12 sit-ups at a time.
You're doing planks too.
There's a couple of other exercises that are specifically targeting my stomach. I'm also doing that 10-minute chair workout.
Mhm.
That's specifically abdomen. It's specifically your core,
I'm actually
your,
going to
your
start
stomach,
doing that with him.
you know, the spare tire area that you get when you sit all the time. Yeah.
And he's been standing up at his desk,
Mm-hmm.
which we don't have a standing desk for him yet, but I'm looking into getting, there's a conversion thing that you can get that sits on your desk that you can raise and lower the height of. So I'm probably going to get him one of those first, because there's nothing wrong with his current desk. But in the future, I am looking, like, when we move, hopefully in May, God and the universe willing, I'm going to get him a actual standing desk. I like the ability to raise and lower them. Like with me, there's sometimes I have to sit. If I stand too long, I start to get lightheaded. A lot of it has to do with the lymphedema. But my current desk is an IKEA desk that I can actually get a hydraulic lift kit for. I hadn't gotten it originally because I wasn't going to be able to stand at it. But now I can alternate, and it has a raise and lower function. So I might do that. I don't know. Somebody's backing up, but it's just making improvements one at a time that we can see what works, what doesn't, is always, process of elimination is always probably the best way to do it. So, I'm going to start doing the chair yoga stuff with him, because other than a couple of leg lifts, because I can't do that with my knee right now, because I still have issues with the quad on my left leg. The the PT exercises and some of the chair exercises I can do. For me, it's not weight loss, it's toning, because I've actually dropped 130, 140 pounds. And for me, it's like trying to tone my skin back up, because I can't do the surgery for skin removal. And I feel like I'm wearing a meat suit because I've lost so much weight. But it's, just being able to get moving and build strength again and build balance, for me, because I prided myself on my balance for years, and now that I'm older and have the knee injury, it's a little harder, but not impossible. And I'm really super proud of Panda.
Had a lot of energy too.
Yeah, because he's gotten some immediate results with energy levels and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
and I can see differences in his arms and his chest, and
I've been doing
legs
more reps of my blue band, which is the heavier of the 3 bands that I have, for like curls, just bicep curl.
So the mouse is back.
The mouse is back. The mouse is back.
He has the mouse.
But all joking aside,
Panera, I used to lift 40-pound bus tubs, so that was.
I realized I also used to do farmer's walk a lot, because I'd be hauling ice buckets to the ice machine. And so you've got 2 5-gallon buckets full of ice, and you're walking them out from the back to the front of the store, dumping them to where you have to lift them up over your head and then carry them back and then repeat, So I was getting a lot of that in a day too, and I never do that anymore.
Yeah, that's like me doing the stalls at the racetrack.
Yeah.
Is I had these huge things of bales of hay and alfalfa and these big wood chip kind of stuff that was in these 60-pound whatever that I'd have to lug over my shoulder and do that, and stalls at 4:00 in the morning. I don't miss that. I miss the horses. I do not miss 4 a.m.
No.
But yeah, so.
But like I said, in a nutshell, those are basic just habit changes and things, and more exercise, more walking, and just sticking to the routine that I've kind of put together. That's basically 2 sets of exercise, a certain distance of walking in a day, and just changing the times and the habits around when I eat, you know, and that's seeming to help quite a bit so far.
My thing is don't bring it in the house. If you shouldn't have it, don't bring it in. And occasionally we break that in the past, but we're getting more regimented with that. And there's a lot of stuff that we're looking at. What do we have that we can play with versus what we can't have? Just that little mindset shift and making it a specific, this is not allowed in the house, like chips and different things that, if you can find things, which I have an app called Yucca, and there's another one called Fig, but you have to pay for it. But the Yucca app will actually, you can scan things and it'll tell you whether or not it's good or bad. So you can go to the grocery store and you can scan items that you normally buy and it'll tell you nutritional stuff, or it'll give you like, here's all the positives. This one has one additive. And it was funny because there was like the tea got a lower rating than what I thought was a better item. And it was really interesting. Like our cilantro salsa, the fresh cilantro salsa that we like, it actually has high risk additives. The sodium is higher on it. The calories are okay. Saturated fat, sugar, all that's okay. There's not anything in it, but it's got sodium benzoate, phosphoric acid, potassium sorbate, xanthan gum, and lactic acid, which the lactic acid is okay and the xanthan gum is okay, but the high risk ones are the top two, and I hadn't expected that in fresh.
Those kinds of things,
veggies.
If I remember right, are shelf stabilizers. They allow something to sit on a store shelf longer. Yeah.
But it'll give you scores on everything, and it'll give you what, sodium, sugar, fiber, protein, that kind of thing. But it's called Yucca. It's Yuka, and I will link to that down in the description. And it's been a handy little free thing you can get. I want to say it was under $10 to actually purchase it, and it unlocks more stuff, but it regularly updates. And I've enjoyed using it. And for most of the time, it's like, well, we're not bringing this in the house, but we used to eat this. I'm curious to see what it is, and you can see kind of what's contributed to problems in the past. But they've always said, the more raw foods, the better. So staying away from fried stuff, staying away from. We cook at home mostly. We do go out occasionally, but usually when we do go out, it's sodium count. Like we went and did chicken shawarma with the kids the other day, and the sodium level on it is of course high. Not great for me, kind of great for him. His salts are low and we're trying to get them up. But it's been interesting to see what's going on. And Fig actually does restaurants, which is why it's a paid thing. So there's a lot of people that will report to it, but they also have verification process with it. And it also does, you can put in allergens, and like if you're on an anti-inflammatory diet, it'll actually flag stuff that you shouldn't have. So you can put a lot of different parameters in there, like all your food allergies, any kind of risk that's involved in having that food, it'll tell you. So it's worth it if you're doing, if you really need to do that kind of thing. But for now, Yucca is working for us, and it's just about staying disciplined with it, which he's more disciplined than I am, which is really good because I need that.
This week, the last 2 weeks almost. For me, the kitchen, except for a plain cup of tea at night, sometime when I want to have it between 5 and 9 o'clock, I allow myself, because it doesn't have anything that contributes to insulin production.
Yeah.
If you,
Herbal
especially
tea, no sugar.
especially if you don't have caffeine in it or sugar in it. You just drink it plain. Like a lemon ginger is great, I'm sure, probably. Um, so that's what I've been having, is just like a lemon ginger. Sometime between 5 and 8.
Black coffee.
No coffee after. I've limited myself to any coffee consumption by like 2 or 3 at the very latest.
Which I've joined him in that.
That way, by 11, when I want to go to bed, it's been 8 hours since I had coffee.
And we're staying off screens as much as we can. With me, it's a little harder because I work mostly online. We're staying off screens as much as possible, an hour to 2 hours prior to bed, which they say 2 hours prior to bed for better sleep. You need to stop doing your phone or your screens, watching videos, anything like that. Also, don't check your phone first thing when you get up, when you wake up. That one's hard because I always have to check to make sure my mom and my daughter haven't tried to reach me for emergencies, because I usually have my notifications off at night. Otherwise, crap just pings me all night. But and don't do screens. I will check, like if I have an idea or something, instead of turning on a light, I'll make a note in my phone. I'm trying to break myself of that, but also I am constantly up because I'm type 2 diabetic. I am constantly up to pee in the middle of the night. So trying to limit liquid an hour to 2 hours prior will help me avoid that, which means if I'm sleeping straight through, I'm not thinking about stuff to make notes on my phone. But glancing just to make sure nobody tried to reach me, and then setting it aside, for a few minutes. So I'll journal on paper, doodle, whatever I need to do to wake up in an analog way versus doing the screens. And then by the time I'm awake, my office hours have started. So I'm checking them on my phone a lot. So, but just doing little tweaks here and there that are beneficial. And your brain needs 9 hours to reset. So trying to get to bed a little earlier so that I can wake a little earlier. Your glymphatic, what they call glymphatic system, which is your brain and all the fluids and things that your brain needs, it has to reset. Otherwise, you just have all sorts of health issues. So your breathing and your sleep affects everything. So doing breathing meditations and getting enough sleep is huge. But so that's what we've been doing lately for self-improvement and for self-study. If you have something that you want to learn, if you have skills you want to hone, feel free to comment in the bottom. I can give you, comment below, and I can give you the resources that I have for stuff like that. I work in a lot of different industries, so, but we're going to go for today. We've got some errands to run with my mom, and we will see you next week. If you have something you want to hear us talk about, feel free to message us or drop a comment below. And we're always looking for different topics. We've been kind of winging it so far, but I do want to deep dive into some things that we both can talk about. So feel free to comment. But thank you so much for being here. If you're here live or you're watching later on, stay well, stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands. take care of each other, and we will see you next week.